What's up, Superdad squad? Check it out. I got me some bone-in short ribs today. We're gonna bake them in the oven. And what I'm gonna use is some kosher salt, some beef bouillon, some of this Bayou Magic. I just picked that up at the market and it actually turned out dynamite. All right. And then I got some garlic. We got us some parsley. We got us some black pepper. And then for some color in the gravy and in the meat, we got us some paprika. So let's go on ahead and get going. So what I did was I sped up the seasoning because I got quite a few seasonings and I didn't want to bore you, but I got the exact measurements in the description box. But those seasonings that I just named off, let's get them well seasoned on both sides. That Creole seasoning, if you can't find that one, maybe I'll put a link in the description box to the local market out here where I got it from. But if not, just use any Creole seasoning. But I actually really like this one. Came out really, really good. All right. So we're going to get them seasoned on both sides. Of course, we got a little bit of juice at the bottom because they have been previously frozen. But a little bit of water at the bottom ain't going to hurt because we need something at that bottom anyway. We're going to add some beef broth once we get down to it. So that little bit of water ain't going to hurt nothing. All right. So you see me adding some parsley on top. Just kind of give it a nice look. All right. Once you get your seasonings in, what you want to do is pat your seasonings all the way in. Make sure all sides are coated. If you got to turn them over, dip them in the seasoning that is falling off, do that. Nobody wants bland short ribs. All right. So as you can see, you want to just position them in the pan, where everything can cook well and where it's room for you to put your gravy in. Because what we're going to do is while these are baking, I'm going to show you how to make that slurry, all right? So take a look. Mine are ready to go. So like I said, we're going to use some beef broth too. Go ahead and coat the bottom of the pan with the beef broth, and that's going to give it a nice flavor. If you don't have any beef broth, just use water. And just use a little bit extra beef base or beef bouillon. All right, but if you have beef broth, go on ahead and put it in there. All right, you don't want them swimming in the beef broth. You just kind of want a little bit at the bottom so it can flavor it up and keep it from sticking. All right, because you put too much of that beef broth or water or anything in there, they're not going to cook right. All right, so after you do that, go on ahead and cover them. My oven's preheating at 350. Yeah, 350. All right, so they're going to go in 350, 2.5 hours, right? Let them bake for 2.5 hours. Don't touch them, don't disturb them. In the meantime, we're going to make this slurry. With this slurry right here, this is a beef gravy slurry. So we're going to use 5 tablespoons of flour. I had somebody in the last gravy video tell me that I didn't, give enough detail on how much. So I went ahead and used my measuring spoon to show you that it's only 5 tablespoons of gravy. If you like a lighter, thinner gravy, then use 3 to 4 tablespoons. But we like thick gravy around here. We like a lot of gravy. All right, so I'm going to take a half of a tablespoon of beef broth and put it in there. And if you were making gravy for chicken, use chicken bouillon. All right, then you want to flavor up that flour. So I'm going to go in with some pepper. You need quite a bit of pepper in this gravy right here. All right, then we're going to go in with a little bit of this Cajun seasoning because we want everything to kind of taste uniform. All right, then I like to use milk in my gravy. Milk makes it creamy. You can use milk. You can use half and half. You can use heavy cream if you want. But I'm going to use some milk today, just about maybe 1/4 cup of milk. All right, and we're going to start the mixing process with milk. And then once I get this gravy smooth, then we'll add water and fill the cup up, depending on how much gravy you need. All right, so you see that gravy is pretty smooth. And you want to go ahead and add the paprika for the color. All right, so as you can see, that gravy's coming together, or that slurry's coming together. You can take you a fork, you can take you a whisk. See how smooth that gravy is? Once you see that gravy is smooth, what did I call this? A slurry. Once you see that slurry is smooth, go ahead and add you some water, depending on how much gravy you want. Since I use 5 tablespoons, I'm gonna fill mine up with water. All right, so as you can see, I removed the short ribs from the oven after 2 hours. All right, so this is the time to take a look, check and see if it's ready to add that slurry, because you want to make sure the meat is already tender when you add that slurry. All right. So if you listen in the background, that was me tasting that meat, and it was already coming off the bone and ready to go. And if you look at the bottom, look how that beef broth is cooked. It's cooked and combined with some of the juices that fell from the meat. So it's ready for the slurry. So we're going to go ahead. When you pour your slurry, you know, hey, you can pour it right on top of the meat. You can pour it in the corners. You can do whatever you want to do. Because once you put that foil back on, it's all going to cook underneath there. All right. And me personally, I use my entire slurry because we like a lot of gravy around here. You know, kids like it on rice and mashed potatoes and, you know, things like that. So we're going to cover this this pan back up, throw it in the oven for 30 minutes. I raised the temperature to 375, 30 minutes. And there it is. We've been taking it out. So now let's check. Let you see how that meat look and how that gravy look. All right, so look at that gravy. That gravy came out delicious. Believe that. That gravy was absolutely delicious. All right, and what I had with it was some cabbage and some macaroni and cheese and some honey cornbread. All right, look at that there. And nah, you got to dip that in the gravy. All right, got to dip it in that gravy. All right, delicious. You hear that? Now you get a spoon just to kind of show you the consistency of the gravy. It's not super duper thick, but it's not thin at all. You got a few meat particles that have fallen off in there, so it's good gravy. Thanks for checking us out. Cooking with Superdad. Like, comment below, and subscribe. Till next time.